G'day everyone and welcome to part 13 of the 1 tonner build series. This video is a bit disjointed as I go back and forth between doing things. My main focus is getting the T5 transmission to fit in the cab and getting the clutch and accelerator pedals to work. I also changed my mind on the brakes I was using, which I'll explain later on. Here I am working on seeing how far back I have to cut out their transmission tunnel to allow the gear stick in the cab. I must say, if you do plan on doing this yourself, phone a friend with a hoist, because I said many unholy words laying on my back trying to get the transmission into place. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Alrighty, so I've got the transmission in there. I've had to cut a hole in the tunnel there. Sadly, it does go through the cross brace of the cab, but I'm going to plate that all up when it's done. You can see the engine slanting back quite a bit, but what I've done is I've ordered a Castlemaine rod shop Crossmember for a T5 anyway, because the original Crossmember just will not work. And with that, I can be sure of the height that this back end of the transmission needs to sit at. And I've seen some other guys do this, and you'll have to cut. You have to cut all around there to let where those bolts are sort of come up. And then box that out. So I think I'll end up having to do that. Right now I've just got the original Crossmember in upside down just to sit it in place, because I didn't want to have to take it out again, because that was a pain in the ass to get it in there. I said a few words I haven't said in years, but so yeah, for anyone doing this, I'd suggest just buying a rod shop Crossmember, or I think Tough Mounts sell one. There's a few options, so yeah, just do some research, see which one you like anyway. So yeah, now I want to try and get a master cylinder bracket all done up and the holes cut in the firewall. So I've got where are we? Here I've got a Protex master cylinder that I think went on the Ford XAs or something, or F100s, I can't remember. But so I've got that, and I've got a slave cylinder here. This one's off the, I think, F100s. It was on the XR, XTs, like that. So they're both 19mm bore, which basically means for however far you push the master in, the slave will push the same amount, sort of thing. So I will be also showing you guys how to do a slave master hydraulic setup on the T5 without using a concentric slave cylinder. So yeah, that'll be fun. Let's go. So you may be wondering, why are my stub axles without brakes on them right now? And that's because I have sold the wheelwood brakes. So yeah, basically I figured out there's not really a 15-inch wheel out there that will fit those 320mm rotors. You basically need 360mm clearance inside diameter, and if you don't know, 15-inch wheels are like 380mm, I think is the conversion. So to get the 360mm clearance is like nearly impossible. I'm sure there might be a wheel out there, but the wheels that I was looking at really didn't fit that. So yeah, so what are we going to do now? We are going to go back to stock brakes, just because I thought about it, and to be honest, save a bit of money, and also stock brakes work just fine. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. I've ordered some stock disc brake rotors. They're coming, and I'm here now just going to clean up these calipers and try and get them working. So yeah. Alrighty, so I've been cleaning up these calipers, and this one has a stripped thread where the brake line goes in. This one was stripped when we were first moving the car. The brakes were leaking, so we obviously did some investigating, and we're taking apart the lines, clearing them out, blah blah blah. Anyway, turns out that when my dad was undoing this brake line, it stripped the threads. It's not really his fault, it's just like corrosion over the years. So now what I'm attempting to do is repairing the thread. So there's still a tiny bit left in there that it's holding this tap in. So what I'm going to do is place it in the drill press. I've got a little drill press over there, and I'm going to try and repair it with a helicoil. So we'll see how that goes anyway. So you can see how I've set this up. I've put the tap in the hole there to line up the drill directly in line with the hole where the hose goes in. And I've got the actual caliper clamped in the table so that when I do drill out the hole, it's perfectly in line. You don't really want to go wonky with it. That's why you don't want to use a hand drill. So yeah, I'll drill it out now with the drill bit provided on my helicoil repair kit. So this is it here. You get a drill bit, you get a new tap, and you get some stainless steel thread repairs to go in. So yeah, we're going to try it out. Hopefully it works, otherwise I gotta buy new calipers. So yeah. Just barbecuing my brakes. Nothing to see here. Alright, now that the paint's dry, let's assemble the calipers. Rightio. So finished putting on the brake calipers. Got them all bolted on. And I've got it back on wheels, which is great. So I can put it on the floor. However, it's on jack stands right now because I had just I don't know if you guys can see. Let me get on the ground. I just put in this rod shop Crossmember on the T5 to get it all sitting nice. It sits in the tunnel good. I had to cut out more of the middle brace of the cab, but that's fine because I'm going to box it out now, and I'm going to patch up that area there and yeah, do a nice box around here. So yeah, hopefully it all looks good. Put the strength back in the cab, and yeah, you can see all the little bits I had to cut out there and there. So we'll get to doing that, and then we'll probably work on this clutch pedal setup as well. Alright, so I'm just getting ready to lift the engine out now, and having issues with my sling setup because this engine crane that I have here won't fit all the things in there. And the way you're supposed to do it is like, normally I've seen like you got that little plate that goes on top of where your carby goes, and you lift it by there, but I don't have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make one up out of some 3mm plate that I have. So yeah, I'm just going to try and make it up here out of this stuff. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't drop an engine. So yeah, there's a little engine lifting plate that I just made. Took a few hours. Just made it out of that plate that I had, and then I had some 50x50 angle laying around, so I just welded that on top. Cut a few holes in it. Saved myself $50. Was it worth it? Probably not, but there it is anyway. So now we're going to lift this bad boy out, and I've made some room here, and we're just going to chuck it over here for now. Let's do it. Rightio, so where there once was a hole, there is a rectangular hole, because I thought it better to do my clutch plate like this. So I've made this little boy here out of thinner plate. It's 1.6mm. Before I tried using a 3mm, and I'm just like, wow, that's pretty thick. Doesn't really make sense to weld thicker material to thinner material, so I've made this, which is just going to sit in there like that. So that's just going to sit in there like that. Weld her in. Precision fabrication, mate. Look at that. So yeah, that's where the clutch is going to sit, the muss and then on the back side. Bang. A few spot welds in the back and she'll be right, mate. So yeah, let's get the party rolling. So I finished welding that piece I made up. It's not the greatest stuff in the world, but I'm gonna put seam sealer over it anyway, just so that no water gets inside the cab. And you can see I've got the clutch master cylinder bolted in there. It's looking nice, looking straight. That's exactly what I wanted next to the booster there. You can see nice amount of room there. And then coming in inside the cab, I was just playing around with the clutch pedal and stuff. So I've drilled a hole. You can sort of see I've got a bolt here. Got a bolt there. Drilled a hole. Just got a piece of square tube in there for now. This can be changed out. And basically the concept is that that just pushes in and out of the master cylinder there. And that's all I was going for. So now, I mean, the concept's there. I've just got to pretty all this up, and I don't know if I'm going to keep this tube or make it like some plate or something. But yeah, basically I just wanted to see like if I had the right sort of depth in the pedal, which I do. You can see that's bottoming out there, and then I've still got about an inch or so before I hit the floor. So that's pretty much exactly where I want the pedal to be. And you can see that's the auto brake pedal there. So I've spaced it out with a nut. That's it's not on the threaded part. I've just drilled that nut out, so that's free to sort of move. And so yeah, so when it's sort of in its neutral position, it's in line with the brake pedal, and then when you push it in, you've got a good amount of travel there for clutch actuation, and then you know you're not going to get any sort of weird stuff with the brake and the clutch pedal. And good thing is I won't have to cut this, because in the original position, like a factory brake pedal from a manual is like cut there. I didn't really want to have to deal with that. So yeah, I can leave that as is. And then I still have to sort out the accelerating pedal, which is here. So there's a bracket in the cab that I'll need to cut out in the old cab, and it welds in somewhere about here. That's where all this stuff bolts up to. Like, I think this, I don't really know what this does, but this is a part of it. I'm sure I'll find out. And then I'll have to plate up this area, because there's just a square hole for where the accelerator cable goes in. And yeah, because the HQs weren't cable type, they were like lever type, but I think from HJ on they changed the cable. So yeah, slowly getting there. I've squared out that hole there for the transmission, and I'm getting ready to plate that up. I think I'll sort out the clutch pedal first, and then I'll move on to plating up that section there. So yeah, it's all coming along. Alright, so now I've sorted out some hardware. You can see I've got a bolt through there. I've cut a nut at an angle to make it level this way, and that's going through a piece of box section that I cut. And then you can see that's all bolted onto the clutch pedal here. And then I've got a bolt going through into my master cylinder, and then what you do, bang, you can see how that all works. It's all working good. Probably going to need a longer bolt here, but the rest of it's fine. So yeah, that's basically my clutch setup all done. I will put a I think from factory there's usually a plate that goes behind these bolts here, and I think that does something with this return spring, and also it acts as a stopper somewhat, I believe. So I might add that, but being that obviously there's a spring inside the master cylinder, and the hydraulic pressure will push back on the master cylinder from the clutch, because it's going to want to spring out. I don't know if I'll need to even bother like having a return spring of sorts. So yeah, I mean, seems pretty factory to me, mate. So now I'll take it all apart, paint it up, and yeah, that's one part done for the hydraulic conversion. Now I've just finished like cutting and cleaning. Let me get a light over here. Cutting and cleaning my tranny hole.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And I've made this piece here, which is the box that's going to sit around the transmission. So that just sits into here. That just sits into there. I've got to fit it up. And then I'll probably tack it in. I need to make a little piece for up here that goes there, and then I'll probably need to cut some of this out and replace it, because obviously there's a hole there from factory and there's gap, so I'll probably just end up cutting a little bit out and patching it up. And yeah, so that's progressing as well. I'll check in with you when I have more to show. So I'm in my backyard in my old rusty HZ cab because I need something. I need that bracket right there. This one. That is what your accelerator pedal connects to. So I need to measure exactly where that's placed, which is going to be hard, but I'll figure it out. And then I need to cut it out, and my freaking light just went off. Anyway, there we go. I need to cut it out and put it in the cab that I'm using. So you can probably see a few differences here actually. See how that circular hole there, that is for that one there, that's for the harness to go through, and then that square hole there, that's for the accelerator cable. So there's a few changes I'm going to need to make, and my dog's having a blast. Hey Beano. Lol. So yeah, I'll cut that out now, measure where it goes, and then I'll transfer it to the cab. So I've just painted all my pedals and stuff. I've got the clutch pedal here with the little box section that I made in there, with all the hardware and stuff. Just painted them all black so that when I'm ready to put the car all together, these are ready to go. So this is the accelerator pedal. I've wrapped them in plastic because I'm not going to use them for a while, but you can see that's the bracket that I cut off my old cab there, and that actually just bolts onto the new cab, so that's all good. I don't need to weld that on or anything. And yeah, so yeah, those are all nice looking and ready to go. Alrighty, so I've decided to ditch that old piece of plate that I made to go in there, and I've made this. This just reduces the amount of welding, and it's always better to have one piece than to weld a bunch of little pieces together. So yeah, that just fits into here. And it's pretty nice. So yeah, I'm gonna fit that up and weld it, and then I'll probably be ready to take this cab off and start working on getting the underside painted. So we'll do that.
Nothing dodgy going on here. Just trying to get the cab on its back. And let's just say height is not being a friend, but we will do it. Alrighty, so that's the new transmission hole all figured out and welded up. That hopefully added good amount of strength into both the tunnel and this middle brace. And that gives plenty of clearance for the transmission to come up into the cab. So yeah. I will be lathering all this weld with seam sealer and stuff. I'll coat it with primer before I do any of that, and then in the next video I'll probably be painting all the underside, just so that I can be done with having the cab like this, and then I can put it back on the chassis. Now this is the other side of the transmission tunnel. You can see I've gotten pretty good penetration with my welds. I'll probably just go over it and make sure that it's all good in most areas. And yeah, I'll be seam sealing all in here anyway, because as you can see, front and back floor pans have been replaced. So anyway, that'll be all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, which will hopefully be sooner. Sorry for the delay. I've just done heaps and haven't really had time to like edit and, you know, put out videos and stuff. Life's been pretty hectic, but yeah. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.